Morning. Listen to Mark Bolin.
As we know, private property in Jamaica, there's a 12-year limitation period, where if you're in adverse possession for over 12 years, you defeat the title of the prior owner. But we have instances where people may have been living for much longer than that on property and are still not having their rights protected because they are not in a position to do so themselves. These are persons who lack means to utilize the legal system because they don't have the means to do so.
This is what the judge said. Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into squatting on private property, notwithstanding their unlawful act, this court empathizes with the gullible defendants. 6. The application, this is the application by the Minister of Housing to stay the order of the court, which was granted in favor of New Falmouth, and the application for injunction. The court said the application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair, it is morally wrong, it is wicked, it is unjust. This is what the court said. This is not the first judge, this is not the second judge, and this is not the third judge. Application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair, it is morally wrong, it is wicked, it is unjust. This is what the court said. This is not the first judge, this is not the second judge, and this is not the third judge reciting the facts. It's judge on top of judge on top of judge. The judge continues. It may be that the law is not a shackle to the lawmakers. That does not apply to the court, which must dispense justice according to the law. 7. It is the court's view that the application is devoid of sincerity. It is an attempt to pervert the course of justice.
This court has formed the view that the hardship that has been visited on the defendant appears to be a consequence of a view on which public officials and the claimant seemed to have acted, that Mr. Chisholm, not, and this is the most potent,
powerful stuff, read it, Said.
Mr. Chisholm, not being from a line of traditional large landowners, has no right to ownership of such relatively large tracts of land. If I am correct in that view, the remedy to that malady is an emancipation of those minds so enslaved.
Wow.
I don't want you to miss that. It's basically saying a Jamaican businessman is treated differently by the state because he did not come from the traditional landowning class.
Yes.
He's saying, in other words, George, the state would not move this way if it was against a plantation family.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Out of Cooper's pen. And I think that we ought to continue this discussion because it is so important. In ordinary philosophical and legal language, iniquitous means grossly unfair, unjust, and morally wrong. What the judge is saying is that it is morally wrong. But I want you to look at the context in which Justice Campbell used it. He was referring back to Justice McIntosh earlier ruling, which had described the occupant's application as insincere and iniquitous. Justice Campbell expressly adopted that view and actually said, I share the view of my brother McIntosh that the application of the claimant is insincere and iniquitous. The important point is that the judges were not calling the residents iniquitous. They were criticizing the government's legal maneuver. It's fascinating. They are criticizing the maneuver of the government. Now I'm going to play for you again Mr. Golding's intervention in this matter, because when you listen to Mr. Golding, you get the impression that Golding was unaware of the case, and he was not. Let's listen to him again.
Have been living for much longer than that on property and are still not having their rights protected because they are not in a position to do so themselves. These are persons who lack means to utilize the legal system because they don't have the means to do so.
This is what the judge said. Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into squatting on private property, notwithstanding their unlawful act, this court empathizes with the gullible defendants. 6, the application, this is the application by the Minister of Housing to stay the order of the court, which was granted in favor of New Falmouth, and the application for injunction. The court said the application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair, it is morally wrong, it is wicked, it is unjust. This is what the court said. This is not the first judge, this is not the second judge, and this is not the third judge reciting the facts. It's judge on top of judge on top of judge. The judge continues. It may be that the law is not a shackle to the lawmakers. That does not apply to the court, which must dispense justice according to the law. 7, it is the court's view that the application is devoid of sincerity. It is an attempt to pervert the course of justice.
This court has formed the view that the hardship that has been visited on the...
Let's pause it there. The attempt by a government of Jamaica to pervert the course of justice is unacceptable, morally wrong. We cannot have a society in which the government attempts to pervert the course of justice. That cannot be a society that we want to grow up in. Perverting the course of justice is a criminal offense. Or, I would argue, requires some other form of legal implication. And what we have here is a revelation that the government of Jamaica was attempting to pervert the course of justice. That is reprehensible. That is reprehensible. And any government that attempts to pervert the course of justice cannot be a government that is fit to be considered for election by the people of Jamaica? How do you attempt to pervert the course of justice? We operate in this democracy what we call separation of powers. And it is important for us to protect that. Separation of powers mean that the various arms of government operates and acts independent of each other, because you must have a check on power. You have to have a check on power. And if you don't have a check on power, then power is going to be abused. And you know what they say about power, that power corrupts. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. We cannot countenance a situation in which the courts are saying to us that the government of Jamaica is attempting to pervert the court of justice. I want you to listen again what we have this morning. Listen to it. Mr. Golding first.
The title of the prior owner. But we have instances where people may have been living for much longer than that on property and are still not having their rights protected because they are not in a position to do so themselves. These are persons who lack means to utilize the legal system because they don't have the means to do so.
This is what the judge said. Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into squatting on private property, notwithstanding there are no...
Hold on there. Politicians misled the residents in Cooper's Pen. The residents in Cooper's Pen were bulldozed because their politicians misled them. Now, as we are waking up this Monday morning, think about the implications of that. Think about that. Think about the implications of that. And when you heard that there was a 3-day-old baby in a bath pan, and you are now hearing that it is the politician that caused what happened at Cooper's Pen, how does that make you feel? It's a travesty. It is a travesty on the people of Cooper's Pen. And I believe that all well-thinking Jamaicans should be aghast, shocked, disappointed that we live in a country where politicians could be so dishonest. It is very dishonest. And I think that there ought to be some consequences flowing out of this. It really is a very serious matter. Let's listen a little bit more to Emily Shields and then a little of Saheed Bernard.
Full act. This court empathizes with the gullible defendants. 6. The application.
Hold on. Let's pull it up from the top again, please. Pull it up from the top.
Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into...
Okay, so the court is saying that the residents were misled. They are not responsible for what happened to them. It is based on the leadership afforded them. Right? And then what else?
Squatting on private property, notwithstanding their unlawful act. This court empathizes with the gullible defendants.
Gullible. So there was gullibility, because the residents are depending on the leadership they were getting. They were misled.
6, the application. This is the application by the Minister of Housing to state.
The Minister of Housing, Dr. Morris Guy,
the order of the court, which was granted in favor of New Falmouth, and the application for injunction. The court said the application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair, it is morally wrong, it is wicked, it is unjust. This is what the court said. This is not the first judge, this is not the second judge, and this is not the third judge reciting the facts. It's judge on top of judge on top of judge. The judge continues. It may be that the law is not a shackle to the lawmakers. That does not apply to the court, which must dispense justice according to the law. 7, it is the court's view that the application is devoid of sincerity. It is an attempt to pervert the course of justice.
This court has formed the view that the hardship that has been visited on the defendant appears to be a consequence of a view on which public officials and the claimant seemed to have acted, that Mr. Chisholm, and this is the most potent,
Powerful stuff. Read it, Said.
Mr. Chisholm, not being from a line of traditional large landowners, has no right to ownership of such relatively large tracts of land. If I am correct in that view, the remedy to that malady is an emancipation of those minds so enslaved.
Wow. Wow.
I don't want you to miss that. It's basically saying a Jamaican businessman is treated differently by the state because he did not come from the traditional landowning class.
Yes. Yes.
He's saying, in other words, George, the state would not move this way
Yes.
if it was against a plantation family.
Yeah.
you know, this morning, the country should really be up in arms against this matter. But we are talkers, you know. Jamaicans are real talkers. The Supreme Court judgment. The judge was not simply saying the PNP government lost the legal case. The PNP lost the case. The judge was saying that the machinery of government appeared to have been used to achieve an end that the ordinary court process had already rejected. Think about that. The machinery of government, remember now that government is a powerful machinery. The machinery of government appeared to have been used to achieve an end that the ordinary court process had already rejected. That is what you call perverting the course of justice. And I don't think that Jamaica and Jamaicans fully grasp the magnitude of this case. That's why I came here this morning. Because I don't want this case to just fall by the wayside. It is fundamentally important that as a society, we reject this. As owners of this piece of rock called Jamaica, we need to do something about this. Iniquitous judgment. Iniquitous means that it was grossly unfair. And I don't know how the PNP this morning is still a political party in Jamaica. Believe me, tell you. Iniquitous means that it was unjust, that it was morally wrong. But look at the context. Look at the context in which the judge used the word. Justice Campbell. Justice Campbell was referring back to Justice McIntosh's earlier ruling. And Justice McIntosh described the occupant's application as insincere and iniquitous. Justice Campbell expressly adopted the view and said, I share the view of my brother McIntosh that the application of the claimant is insincere and iniquitous. The important point is that the judges were not calling Cooper's Pen residents iniquitous. They were chastising. They were criticizing the governmental legal maneuver. In other words, the PNP was legally maneuvering to overturn or not to have the residents follow the ruling of the court. How does that not become a crisis in a country? Tell me. How does that not require some press conference this morning and some calls for resignations? The history is extraordinarily important because in 2007, the landowner, New Falmouth Resort, went to court to recover possession from people occupying the land. So in 2007, New Falmouth Resorts went to court to get the people off of them land. In April 2010, Justice McIntosh ordered the occupants to pay damages for trespass and to remove their structures. The occupants did not comply. Understand the case? They did not comply. Then in 2012, an application was made to stay the court order. The government housing agency officers were actually present in court and had copies of the orders. The stay was refused, and there was no appeal pursued. So then, from 2010, the residents of Cooper's Bend were ordered by the court to leave from 2010. So when you hear the residents down there saying that, boy, them don't know what happened, and a lie. We are now in 2026. That is 16 years ago. The residents were told, leave. And this is where the matter becomes philosophically and constitutionally interesting. Because the housing ministry then used its statutory powers to declare the land an improvement area and pursued compulsory acquisition of the private land. The government of Jamaica was trying to take away the land from a private landowner. Listen to that. The government of Jamaica, there is no law in Jamaica that gives the government that right. The government was trying to use their statutory powers to keep the squatters on the private man land. How is there not uprising in Jamaica from civil society this morning? How? Why is Jamaica quiet? When Justice Campbell examined the chronology and concluded that the government's stated justification did not stand up, the judge noted that the evidence itself indicated that the purpose was essentially to prevent the residents from being disposed following the court order. The court found that the PNP's motive was wrong. It was immoral. It was unethical. In other words, the court said these occupants must give up the land. The government responded to say, we cannot allow that to happen because it will cause social and economic turmoil. The government then said, we will use compulsory acquisition powers. In other words, we're not obeying the court order. We're going to take away the land. The court says you cannot use acquisition legislation simply to defeat the consequences of the court's judgment and transfer an interest in private property to these occupants. $2 billion worth of land the government wants to take away and give to the people. And this is the core of the judgment. Because the judge's philosophical point is actually about the rule of law. And this, I think, is the most important part. Because a democratic government is enormously powerful. It can make laws, collect taxes, acquire property, and regulate land, and it deploys public resources. The power of the government is huge. But I want you to understand, listeners, that the government is not above the law. The government is not above the law. And Justice Campbell explicitly said that the judiciary must be able to intervene when public bodies engage in unacceptable conduct, because public bodies remain subject to law. So the philosophical principle is this, that the government cannot lose in court and then use a different governmental power to accomplish substantially the same thing that the court has prevented it from doing. I want you to know that. Government cannot lose in court and then use a different governmental power to accomplish substantially the same thing that the court has prevented it from doing. And if that were permitted without proper legal justification, then judicial judgments would become almost meaningless. Just imagine, government loses case A, and then government changes hats and uses executive power to accomplish the result or the results it could not obtain in case A. That would undermine separation of powers. And in a democracy, separation of powers becomes crucial, because the government argued that it was acquiring the land for a housing improvement purpose. But the judge asks a very simple philosophical question: public purpose for whom? That's what the government was saying, that it was acquiring the land for housing improvement purpose. And the court asks them, public purpose for whom? The law can allow the state to compulsorily acquire private property for genuine public purpose. For example, the government, if it is going to make a highway, yes, or build a hospital, and your house is next to the hospital, the government can acquire your land so that the hospital can be built, or the school. And even then, it is subject to constitutional safeguards and compensation. The government can't just take your land like that. There are a lot of people whose lands were acquired for the highways. But Justice Campbell found that the evidence did not establish a genuine general public purpose. Instead, he found that the practical purpose was to protect a particular group of occupants from the consequences of the existing court order. The government lied to the court. the government of Jamaica lied to the court. Think about it. When the government told the court that it was acquiring the land for a housing improvement purpose that was to protect this particular group of residents, and the law does not give the government that right. The government essentially lied about its intent and purpose to acquire this land. I find this case to be amazing, and I think it is a national scandal. Because as the justice found, general purpose does not accrue to this specific group. The court found that the only reason the PNP wanted this land is to protect the residents of Cooper's Pen. And the question is, why? Why was the PNP wanting to protect Cooper's Pen residents? Why? Why? The judgment of the court, therefore, distinguished between one, public interest, and public interest is not Cooper's Pen residents. Public interest, as I told you, is if a hospital is to be built, a school, roads, for example. So the court distinguished between public interest and the interest of a particular group of individuals. Cooper's Pen is not defined as public interest. Jamaica don't benefit from that. Public interest is the 3 million of us would benefit from the acquisition of this land. And the court says, no, the 3 million people living in Jamaica will not benefit from this. Only those people there. So it is not public interest. So the court distinguished between the public interest and the interest of a particular group of individuals. And that distinction is fundamental to democratic government. A government cannot simply say, these people are poor, therefore their interests automatically become a public purpose, allowing us to take someone else's property. Can't say that. That is essentially what the judge rejected. Boy, I tell you, it's a fascinating case. It is a fascinating case. It is a fascinating case. The most important part of the judgment, though, you see, is paragraph 47. Because this paragraph is the heart of the case. Justice Campbell said that the Constitution does not reserve ownership of a large tract of land to people of a particular social class, color, or creed. That the Constitution of Jamaica does not reserve land for the topanars. That's what the judge is essentially saying. Here is Said Bernard explaining that from the judgment. Go ahead.
The hardship that has been visited on the defendant appears to be a consequence of a view on which public officials and the claimant seemed to have acted that Mr. Chisholm, not, and this is the most potent,
Powerful stuff. Read it, Said.
Mr. Chisholm, not being from a line of traditional large landowners, has no right to ownership of such relatively large tracts of land. If I am correct in that view, the remedy to that malady is an emancipation of those minds so enslaved.
Wow. Wow.
I don't want you to miss that. It's basically saying a Jamaican businessman is treated differently by the state because he did not come from the traditional landowning class.
Yes. Yes.
He's saying, in other words, George, the state would not move this way
Yes.
if it was against a plantation family.
Yeah.
You hear that? That is extraordinary. The judge went further and he said the hardship suffered by the landowner appeared to have resulted from a view among public officials that because Mr. Chisholm was not from a traditional large land-owning background, he somehow did not have the same right to own substantial property. The judge, in an extraordinary response, is saying that if that is the mentality at work, the remedy was emancipation of those minds. In other words, liberate yourselves, politicians. If I may get even more personal, comrades, liberate your minds. That's a very powerful philosophical statement. Because what the judge is essentially saying is we cannot replace one form of historical injustice with another form of injustice. What the judge is saying is that the freedom we achieved with independence must also come with the freedom of the minds, because the enslaved, those who enslaved us, did not think we qualify for land. Poor people have rights, the judge is saying. But property owners have rights too. Black Jamaicans have rights. But black Jamaicans who happen to own valuable land does not lose their constitutional rights because they are black. What a powerful philosophical statement coming from a judge directed at the People's National Party. And governments cannot decide that somebody's property rights are less worthy of protection because that person does not belong to a historically powerful land-owning class. This is a pivotal moment in Jamaica. And students at the university, high school students, sixth formers, must go and read this case. Government cannot decide that somebody's property rights are less worthy of protection because that person does not belong to a historically powerful land-owning class. And here is the political question. How can a political party that was in government when this litigation occurred now present itself as the champion of the same residents? I want to ask that to Mr. Golding. Mr. Golding, listen to Mr. Mark Golding as he championed the rights of the people. Listen.
For 12 years, you defeat the title of the prior owner. But we have instances where people may have been living for much longer than that on property and are still not having their rights protected because they are not in a position to do so themselves. These are persons who lack means to utilize the legal system because they don't have the means to do so.
This is what the judge said. Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into squatting on private property, notwithstanding their unlawful act, this court empathizes with the gullible defendants. 6. The application, this is the application by the Minister of Housing to stay the order of the court, which was granted in favor of New Falmouth, and the application for injunction. The court said the application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair. It is moral.
All right. So how can Mr. Golden, who was a member of the party when this litigation occurred, now present himself as the champion of the same residents? Mr. Isaac Buchanan, Mr. Isaac Buchanan put out a statement on behalf of the People's National Party, totally oblivious to what was happening here. And Mr. Luton Cousins, listen to Mr. Cousins.
The People's National Party.
I want you to understand what is happening. Listen to Luton.
The following is a release from the People's National Party Media Unit.
The People's National Party is demanding the immediate public release of the court order used to justify the pre-dawn demolition of homes in Cooper's Pentrelawney. The public has a right to see this order, and this must be done without delay. The law is clear. The Civil Procedure Rules states that a court order cannot be enforced after 6 years without the express permission of the court. If this order expired without lawful extension, the state is exposed to serious liability and someone must answer for it. The original Court of Appeal ruling applies strictly to 99 identified residents. That order is not a blank check. Removing and demolishing homes belonging to anyone outside those 99 named parties without a fresh lawful.
The following is
Mr. Luton Cousins is talking rubbish. Oh, Mr. Cousins, you are talking nonsense. The fact of the matter is that the court order said that the people living on the land were living there illegally. It doesn't matter if they were, if more people came on, those people are also illegal. Oh, Mr. Cousins. Come on. Listen, man. Listen. This is disappointing. Anyway, that is
court order is illegal, and that is plain and simple. If the bailiff and the police enforced an expired order.
Hold on. So when the bailiff got there, the bailiff is to take off the people that were there when the court order was issued and leave the others. You need a new order to remove those. Huh?
The state is liable, and affected residents can and should claim damages because the act was unlawful. I am calling on the bailiff and the state authorities to produce this order now, and to every resident displaced outside of those 99 named parties, please seek independent legal counsel immediately.
Visit our website at pnp.org.
Now, there you have the PNP.
Auburn, Jamaica. I'm Peter Gay Ferguson, and welcome back to Unfiltered.
Hold on. There you have
The following.
Now, August.
Hold on. There you have the PNP coming out in defense of the people. And the question is, how can a political party that was the government when this litigation occurred now present itself as the champion of the same residents? How is that possible? Right? How can the party present itself as the champion of these residents? That no hypocrisy, man? Is not hypocrisy?
The incident is quite concerning, and many of the images that we have seen are disturbing. My heart goes out to the families who have been dislocated. I see a particular image of a newborn and the mother being dislocated. These are the tragedies, and it is one thing that history does is to repeat itself. Right. And I am committed to ensure that our history is not repeated. Which is why I am unequivocal and very clear in not endorsing squatting and the illegal occupation of land. I do intend to address the specific matter when I have the full details of the matter. The matter is quite complex and it involves court rulings for which I need to be properly advised on those court rulings before I speak. Right.
Okay, we await the Prime Minister's presentation. By the way, I am getting threats of legal suits, threats. People are pushing papers under my door saying that I am going to be sued. That you know, I am defaming members of the party, and I should be careful. So threats have come to say that I am to be careful of legal defamation suits. Well, let's see. Let's see how that works out. You know, I don't know what success that would happen. I don't know how successful they would be with those threats. But I am not intimidated by that. If I saw you go, I saw you go. You understand me? A war you want, a war you get. And if you keep threatening with legal actions, then we will give you something to take to the court. I'm telling you, if you keep threatening me with legal actions, I will say something that really you have to go to court on it, and I know I will win. Don't challenge it. You hear? Relax yourself. Okay? What I am doing is providing the Jamaican people with the information that is already in the public domain. Already in the public domain. And I have a right to share my opinion. Right? I have a right to share my opinion. And I have said nothing on this program that I cannot prove. Nothing. I have not said anything that defames anyone. So I don't want you to send me any note about be careful. Be careful of what? Go and tell your friends on the other side to be careful. I don't need to be careful of nothing. And I'm not intimidated by your threats. I'm not. I'm not afraid of courthouse. Enough time we got there. Okay? And we never lose yet. They will tell you about me. Okay? Anyway, How can a political party that was the governing party when the litigation occurred now present itself as the champion of the same residents, when the court had already found serious problems with the government's conduct in trying to protect their occupants? That's a question of political consistency and accountability. Because the judgment records that the government's own land agency representatives were already involved in the earlier proceedings. The court order was known to them. Mr. Luton Cousins, you knew of the court order. Mr. Mark Golding, you knew of the court order. Mr. Isaac Buchanan, if you didn't know, sir, you have a duty to have known of the court order. The stay was refused. There was no appeal. Yet the minister subsequently proceeded with the improvement area declaration and acquisition strategy. That, in my view, is corruption. So if today's PNP representative are saying, we stand with Cooper's Pen, to the extent that their member of parliament for Eastern Portland encourage the residents to chop the line. Chop the line. That's what Mr. Isaac Buchanan was encouraging them to do. Go and chop the line. PNP can't say they are standing with Cooper's Pen. And if PNP says they are standing with Cooper's Pen, then a reasonable citizen can ask, where was that concern when your party was actually in government and had the power to formulate a lawful solution? Because the PNP got an opportunity, had an opportunity to formulate a lawful solution. Rather, they tried to break the law. That doesn't mean the residents don't deserve assistance. It means political responsibility should follow political power. Political responsibility should follow political power. You know, there is even a bigger question. Why is the PNP visiting Cooper's Pen today? Why? Because if the PNP believes that the residents' cause is just, then what precisely does it believe the PNP government did wrong when it was previously in office? And why did it not solve the matter lawfully then? I asked that of Mr. Isaac Buchanan and Mr. Golding and Mr. Cousins and Mr. Meadows. Mr. Meadows, if the PNP believes the residents' cause is just, what precisely do you believe the PNP government did wrong when you were in office? What did you do wrong? Because if the cause of the residents is just, then you did something wrong while you were in office. Did the previous PNP government know about the court order? The answer is yes. when Golding visited Cooper's Pen, Golding knew that there was a court order to remove the residence. You knew, Mr. Golding. Mark Jefferson, you know. You were the Minister of Justice. The judgment says that the housing agency legal officers were present and had copies of the orders. Copies of the order. The PNP had it. Was the government's attempt to stay the order successful? No. The stay was refused by the court, and Mr. Golding knew it, and they did not appeal. So the court issued the stay. The PNP challenged the stay. The court says, no, we are refusing the stay. The people are to remove. The PNP does not appeal it. And the PNP subsequently tried to acquire the land. But the Supreme Court Justice dismissed the claim and found procedural impropriety and an absence of genuine public purpose. And the judge described the claimant's conduct as less than fair and adopted the characterization of the application as insincere and iniquitous. The iniquitous judgment. Light is shining on this case. It's an iniquitous judgment. I'm going to take a couple calls. Anna, hi. Because if the PNP now says it stands with Cooper's Pen, if the PNP now says that it is standing with Cooper's Pen, will the party also acknowledge the findings of the court concerning what the PNP government itself did when it previously had responsibility for this matter? And the PNP needs to explain why it believes the resident should now receive a different political solution. Um, 6 minutes to 11 o'clock. Let me see who is on and who wants to come up. Do I have a? If you want to come up, send a request now, and let's take a bit of your calls. Can't stay too long with any one person. Good morning, caller. Morning. Decos, morning, Decos. Decos, morning. Orville, hi. Orville. Morning, Orville. My goodness. Orville, are you here? Morning, Orville. Morning, sir. Hello? No. Good morning, Honeybee.
Good morning, neighbor.
Morning. Hi.
How you doing?
I'm fine.
Concerning topic of the Cooper's Pen situation, my view is, neighbor, as I said before, remember I said it on the show more than one time, who feels it knows it. And people feel entitled to people's property because of a culture that we develop. And that culture can be dangerous, neighbor, because people can lose hope in the country and hope in the government. Because this man, things could have handled differently instead of bulldozing, but This man did not, remember a member of parliament said she was not consulted, she was not notified, she did not know about it. This man would not go to the member of parliament again after what he have been through before, previous government, right? Remember they fight this man for 16 years for it. And if you own a piece of land and for 16 years you have been paying taxes and you can't occupy because other pick up your land, that is disappointment that you would have in the country on a whole, and you'll feel a sense of not belonging because you don't own a certain name or you're not a part of the Tapanaris, as they would say. For this particular issue, these people knew that they did not win the case. They knew. And they knew that they were supposed to, because if you listen, they said the last notice that was received was in 2024. One of the young miss says that is not notice. You give people notice for 30 days, you don't give people notice for 2 years. A notice is a notice, regardless. You were given notice, adequate notice, I might add, to move from there. Another young miss said she was living there and she moved in 2025 because she did not want what she see happen here to happen to her. And she happy that she moved. And she said, a lot of people tell her, say, where you run go? But she decided to move. Other people had the same opportunity. Neighbor, if you can find $1.5 million to invest in to build a home, neighbor, you can acquire a piece of land. Because the land price now is much more than it was before. There were lands that was going for little and nothing, neighbor, in certain parts of the country, because it was not yet developed. But the more developed the area is, the land price is going to go up. But these people did not have that type of intention. They wanted to stay where they are, and the man was not having it. And I'm so happy that he got the judgment that he did. I'm not happy about, I don't sorry for them. Let me make that clear. I'm sorry for the children that, because it must be traumatizing for those small children, what happened. But for the adults, absolutely no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Sorry, I should tell you and the listeners that to be very, very clear, the PNP did not create the original court judgment against the residents. The original judgment ordering recovery of possession was made in April 2010 when Bruce Golding was Prime Minister. The PNP came into government in January 2012 and inherited the problem. But once in office, the PNP government intervened directly to try to stop that judgment from trying to take effect. That is the history of the case, ma'am. And that distinction is very important.
Yes, neighbor, but remember this land. Yes, this owner acquired this land in 2007. There was an owner before that buy the same piece of land in 1993.
Yeah.
Right? So this settlement, remember when this just started, there was, in the first time before 2007, there was only 20 people that was settling there.
Yeah.
When this went to court, it was now 90 persons. And at the time of the demolition, it was over 100.
Yeah.
So it has increased the amount of people that live there. So I'm saying, even though there was, remember, a stop order was put in us, and they should not bill anymore. They should pay the man, and none of that was done. They should pay everybody that lived there. The 90 persons at the time should have paid him $50,000. That was not done.
No.
And they continue to expand.
The land, the land at Orange Grove.
They did not.
The land at Orange Grove, south of Cooper Spend, was privately owned by New Falmouth Resorts associated with James Chisholm. The court record says that approximately 9 acres had been occupied by roughly 100 families in 2010, some of whom said they have been there for many years. Okay? So the case was brought by the Golden government in 2007. Anyway, wrap up. Let me give somebody else a chance.
Yes, but the whole purpose of it is that people, I hear everybody leaking out and said it's a shame and the government should do this. For me, I believe, as I heard you said on this program, for me, and this is my view, I believe that the government should be mindful of how we approach the whole situation. You have to think of the people that want to invest in the country, the message that you will send to them.
Yes.
And you also have to be mindful of Jamaicans that are living here who want to acquire a piece of land, but they will may buy it and can't afford to develop the land as yet. How safe it is to own a piece of land that you can't develop. So we have to be careful of that message.
Agreed.
And going forward, helping these people, you have to also put things in place that this cannot continue. Where you go on people land, you build up concrete structure and expect the government to bail you out when you know you don't belong there.
Fantastic.
That message has to also be clear.
I agree with you. All right. If you want to join, there's lots of people who have sent requests, but I don't know who wants to come up and who doesn't want. So just type in the chat that you want to come up. Good morning, Rich Banks. Hello. Hello.
I can't talk, so I gotta come out the box.
What do you mean you can't talk? But I'm hearing you. Hello.
I can't talk, no voice.
But I'm hearing you, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can't talk, no voice.
Anyway, all right, sir.
He said something is wrong with his voice.
Go ahead. All right.
My voice is gone.
Oh, well, your voice is gone. What? You were shouting? You were shouting? All right. Okay. Let me see who else do we have. Who else do we have? Keisha. Rhoda, good morning. Hello. Hello, Rhoda. Nature Boy. Nature Boy said he needs to come up. Okay. All right. Nature Boy, you have to send a request. Oh boy, I think these are tappers. Nature Boy, you have to send a request, okay? So we can take you up. 4 minutes after 11. Okay, let's take this person out. All right. So we're waiting for Nature Boy to come along. I don't see a request from him yet. I don't see a request. I don't see a request from him. You have to send a request, guys. You have to. Accept. Okay. Go ahead, Nature. Go ahead. Hello. Morning. Ron Johnson. Morning. Oh God. Oh boy, I tell you, it's rough. Rough. Clive Barrett. No, these people, I tell you. Hello. This I can't do this. All right. Oh, okay. Boy, I tell you, the line is busy, but people them are doing all type of things on their phone. Morning, Patch White. Morning. Morning, Patch. Yes, you're on. Good morning, sir.
Is Nathan Boy on?
He's on. Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, good. So the question that I want to ask, because I had a similar situation to what took place in New Falmouth, Trelawney. And I think I have a basic understanding of how the process works since I have gone through the process myself. What I want to ask, when that injunction was placed to prevent the demolition by Portia Simpson.
No, there was no injunction. Hold on, sir. There was no injunction to prevent any demolition.
Okay.
There was no injunction. The court ordered that the residents come off the property and pay $50,000. The government brought the case back to the court saying that they wanted to acquire the land for public purpose to develop a housing scheme or something. The court says no. There is nothing in the law that gives you the right to do that. You are simply wanting to protect the residents of Cooper's Pen. You follow? And in 2012, an application.
Okay, so the argument that there was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
In 2012, an application was made to stay that court order by the housing agency. The stay was refused. And in other words, from 2012, the order for the removal of the residents was in place. You understand me, sir? You understand me?
I do. Yes, I do. So in all actuality, you're saying there were no injunction. The argument that there was an injunction placed there by the Portia Simpson government was incorrect. That's what you're saying, right?
The court, sir, said the occupants must give up the land. The government says we cannot allow that to happen because it will cause some problems. The government says they are going to use a compulsory acquisition power. And the court said you cannot use the acquisition legislation.
All right. So did they file that compulsory?
They tried it, sir, and the court rejected it.
Because it's been used for private purpose.
They tried it, and the court says...
So let me ask you a question. Okay. I am wondering though, right?
The court says no, you can't do that.
Okay. I'm wondering that acquisition power that we're talking about, I'm wondering if it's something similar to what you would call eminent domain here in the United States, where the government would acquire the property for the use of government purpose related issues.
No, sir. In Jamaica, it's what is called.
Yeah.
In Jamaica, is what is called public purpose. So, for example, if you live on a piece of land and the government needed to build a hospital, you own it. You own the piece of land, or the government need to put a road through it. It can acquire it. But note, it is for the public purpose. In other words, you have to prove.
Would NHT be considered to be a public purpose? A government
no, you know, sir, hold on. I'm not a lawyer, sir. What I'm telling you is my understanding of the case, that governments can acquire property.
Right.
Governments can acquire property for its use that the court would consider beneficial to the public. But you can't just take it away from the people like that. You have to compensate them. You understand me?
Right.
Or you have to relocate them. But the government does have a power to take your land, but that specifically refers to where the land is going to be used for pub. Because, for example, the highway that the government cut in Jamaica, enough people land it had to acquire.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to thank you for the time. My argument was going to be made around the issue of the injunction. So you made yourself clear about that. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Take care.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Clive. Hello.
Yes, neighbor. Blessed love, my brother.
Blessed love to you.
The listeners. Just remind you again that in the 90s there was a similar thing happening in St. Thomas when they were making a housing scheme. Seaton were making a housing scheme, but this land owned by Seaton. You understand? Seaton was fighting the people from the early 80s. From Edward Seago was in power.
Yes.
But they never win that case till the 90s when PJ Patterson went into power. And the people thought was PJ Patterson.
So what they do now, the government move them. And some of them are all shackles or bodos or, you know, I see nice house them out by there.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Clive.
Okay, I did finish. Yeah, so, you know, I'm saying now, neighbor, this situation went into the court because it's going on for a little while, and Seaton has won the case because he had papers to show that he owned the land and he's paying tax for his land.
Yes.
These people didn't own nothing, that they was living there and didn't want to move from the people land. You know, you understand me? And this happened with several. You have a lot of people who lose their property because of bad man take over their place and they can't do anything there. If they try to open them out, they murder them. You understand me? So this type of taking people things in Jamaica been happening for a long time. But people get away with it. And because people get away with it, they think they can always do it and constantly do it. So when they do it to some people who have the facility to fight them strongly in the court and win, this is what exactly happened again.
Yeah. But you know, sir,
it's not that I want to see people homeless.
Right. Right, sir. But the machinery of government, the judge is saying the machinery of government appear to have been used to achieve an end that the ordinary court process had already rejected. The court rejected the application and said, the PNP government, you are wrong. No. Why is the PNP pressing this and led the judge to suggest that they need to be emancipated in their minds? Listen to this, sir, because I think this is so important. Listen to this. Do I have the audio? Let me play it for you.
This is what the court said. This is not the first judge. This is not the second judge. And this is not the third judge reciting the facts. It's judge on top of judge on top of judge. The judge continues. It may be that the law is not a shackle to the lawmakers. That does not apply to the court, which must dispense justice according to the law. 7. It is the court's view that the application is devoid of sincerity. It is an attempt to pervert the course of justice.
This court has formed the view that the hardship that has been visited on the defendant appears to be a consequence of a view on which public officials and the claimant seemed to have acted, that Mr. Chisholm, and this is the most potent,
powerful stuff. Read it, Said.
Mr. Chisholm, not being from a line of traditional large landowners, has no right to ownership of such relatively large tracts of land. If I am correct in that view, the remedy to that malady is an emancipation of those minds so enslaved.
Wow. Wow.
I don't want you to miss that. It's basically saying a Jamaican businessman is treated differently by the state because he did not come from the traditional landowning class.
Yes.
To utilize the legal system because they don't have the means to do so.
This is what the judge said. Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into squatting on private property, notwithstanding their unlawful act, this court empathizes with the gullible defendants. 6, the application, this is the application by the Minister of Housing to stay the order of the court, which was granted in favor of New Falmouth, and the application for injunction. The court said the application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair, it is morally wrong, it is wicked, it is unjust. This is what the court said. This is not the first judge, this is not the second judge, and this is not the third judge reciting the facts. It's judge on top of judge on top of judge. The judge continues. It may be that the law is not a shackle to the lawmakers. That does not apply to the court, which must dispense justice according to the law. 7, it is the court's view that the application is devoid of sincerity. It is an attempt to pervert the course of justice.
This court has formed the view that the hardship that has been visited on the defendant appears to be a consequence of a view on which public officials and the claimant seemed to have acted, that Mr. Chisholm, not, and this is the most potent,
Powerful stuff. Read it, Said.
Mr. Chisholm, not being from a line of traditional large landowners, has no right to ownership of such relatively large tracts of land. If I am correct in that view, the remedy to that malady is an emancipation of those minds so enslaved.
Wow.
You hear that? You hear that, sir? Clive? Hello? Hello, sir? Hello? You heard that, sir?
The right to own.
No, boy, I tell you. Whose internet is bad? Mine or is it his? Keisha, are you hearing the caller? Are you hearing the caller, Keisha? I'm not so sure what is happening. All right. Hello? Hello?
When I go back to again to the people of St. Thomas at the time, why Mr. Siago didn't try to put up a fight against the landowner at the time?
Mr. Siaga is dead, you know, sir.
Neighbor not there.
Hello? Oh, God.
Yes, neighbor, I'm hearing you.
You're asking me about Mr. Siaga?
Yes, I'm saying at that time when my experience at the problem that was going on with Seaton and the people that occupied their land in St. Thomas, why Mr. Siaga didn't tell the people not to come off the land and try to put up a fight against it? Why he didn't do that?
Mr. Siaga is dead, sir. I can't answer for Mr. Siaga. Mr. Siaga is dead.
I know.
No, that's hypothetical.
No, why I'm saying that, Because that would be wrong, neighbor. That would be wrong for him to do that.
Oh.
You got my saying? You understand what I'm saying to you, neighbor?
Yes. But I
It
listen.
wouldn't be right for
Listen up, Clive. The land is a private property.
Yeah.
The court tell the people
Yes.
from 2007 come off of the land, pay the man 50 grand and come off. That judgment has not been reversed. Even though the PNP tried on a number of occasions to have that, to delay whatever they were trying to do, every opportunity they got to go to judge after judge after judge said, no. And even when they came with the caveat that they were going to acquire it for public purpose, the judge says, you have presented no evidence that you so want to acquire this land, but to protect the residents of Cooper's Pen, and that is not public purpose. Hello? Hello?
Yes, neighbor, I'm hearing about it.
I was trying to explain to you a while ago is that, neighbor, just a minute, can I just interject for a second? I think what he was referring to with seeing land in St. Thomas and what happened in Trelawney, he was saying why Siaga did not fight that owner because it would have been wrong. And what happened with this owner when the government keep taking him to court, that was wrong. That's what he was explaining, that because Siaga knew it was wrong, he did not fight that owner. And he was saying it was wrong for them to try and do so.
Yes. Because everybody have the right to own, because there's no limit. Say, I can't own 50 acre land in Jamaica or 100 acre. There's no limit of saying what you can own, amount of land you can own from what you cannot own. So even if I have my land, I still have right to it. So if someone on it and they don't want to come off, I should bring them to court. I'm not supposed to have to go into so much different judge.
Quite true.
And for this long process, forget about my land.
Quite true, sir.
No.
Quite true. The rule of law here is a problem there, sir. Quite true.
And the and the people of St. Thomas, they wake up to the reality and understand we're living here for 20 odd years and we're not paying no rent. And I mean, these people are paying tax on them land, so we still get a big run. You know, let us move on and call it a day.
Oh no, I don't think we can move on. I think what we need now is to discuss how do we hold the people responsible accountable. Because, sir, the bulldozers that came to Cooper's Pen did not, they only arrived there last week. Those bulldozers were on their way 16 years ago. I slow them slow. You know bulldozers move slow. The bulldozers, sir, that arrived in Cooper's Pen took 16 years from Kingston. That's why they just came to Cooper's Pen. It's because they had to come up Mount Russell, come down to Otereus, and the road was bad. The bulldozers had to cut road, and it took them 16 years from the court in Kingston to arrive in Cooper's Pen. That's how slow the bulldozers move.
Yeah.
It is not that they just came on last week, Tuesday. It's 16 years it took them to come from town because the road bad. You hear me, sir? That's what the people of Jamaica need to understand.
Yes, sir.
That the bulldozers were always on their way, but they only arrived late. And you know what happened to the bulldozers, sir? Two of them broke down from Mount Russell. When they was coming up Mount Russell, them broke down, and they had to send for parts in down in Japan, and the parts took a couple of years to come so that they could fix them, so that they could be on their way. They were always on their way. You understand?
Neighbor, I have 1 acre of land. Yes, I had 1 acre land and some people come across the fence and take a part of my land, and they're still taking more, they're building up concrete house. I stop them from doing it, neighbor, and they're not listening, neighbor. They're still going and they're still trying, taking more and more. And I am heading back in the islands any moment now, and all this thing gonna start because I'm paying tax on my land, and yes, I have the right to bring them to court. You understand me? So people take your things, all them take your things, so them they don't want to take your things, but badness them I bring to you.
Right you are, sir.
I don't believe in none that what is mine is mine.
Right you are. Right now in Jamaica, so you can't even talk your mind. People are sending you all type of threat and I tell you one way you go suck and all them something there.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
You can't even talk your mind, so and turn up for your right. People are gonna tell you about you must when they catch you on road. Catch you on road. Man, a joke will not make you here. Joke will not make. Catch you on road. Go away with that.
Them try to stop you.
No boy can run in. No boy can run in.
Jamaica, in Jamaica,
no boy can run in Pawi.
I mean, I wanna stop you. I wanna stop your freedom, your democratic right.
Democratic right, sir.
Your freedom of speech.
So guess what? Guess what? You soon drive your car down. Hey, you soon drive your car down the road, so man step up to you and tell you come out of this. You understand me? Can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that, sir. No boy, no girl, we're not afraid of, sir. Yeah. Anyway.
So neighbor, one thing before you come on. So neighbor, it was the PNP had something to actually do with it, helping the people to remain on the land that is not their one. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And the PNP, as a matter of fact, sir, you didn't hear the court judgment. They were misled. They were misled by the PNP. Misled, sir. That's what happened.
Yeah.
And I think it is a disgrace, sir. And you know what is a worse a disgrace? That Mr. Golding go down there and play angel. Like I said, he don't know a thing about it. And Mr. Golding was the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice, sir. Okay?
But you know what?
Listen again to Golding. Listen to Golding. Listen to him.
The title of the prior owner. But we have instances where people may have been living for much longer than that on property and are still not having their rights protected because they are not in a position to do so themselves. These are persons who lack means to utilize the legal system because they don't have the means to do so.
This is what the judge said. Given the history of the case, the length of the trial, and the efforts made by the court to assist the defendants who seem to have been misled by politicians into squatting on private property, notwithstanding their unlawful act, this court empathizes with the gullible defendants. 6. The application, this is the application by the Minister of Housing to stay the order of the court, which was granted in favor of New Falmouth, and the application for injunction. The court said the application is iniquitous. That means it is grossly unfair, it is morally wrong, it is wicked, it is unjust. This is what the court said. This is not the first judge, this is not the second judge, and this is not the third judge reciting the facts. It's judge on top of judge on top of judge. The judge continues. It may be that the law is not a shackle to the lawmakers. That does not apply to the court, which must dispense justice according to the law. 7. It is the court's view that the application is devoid of sincerity. It is an attempt to pervert the course of justice.
This court has formed the view that the hardship that has been visited on the defendant appears to be a consequence of a view on which public officials and the claimant seemed to have acted that Mr. Chisholm, not, and this is the most potent,
Powerful stuff. Read it, Said.
Mr. Chisholm, not being from a line of traditional large landowners, has no right to ownership of such relatively large tracts of land. If I am correct in that view, The remedy to that malady is an emancipation of those minds so enslaved.
Wow. Wow.
I don't want you to miss that. It's basically saying a Jamaican businessman is treated differently by the state because he did not come from the traditional landowning class.
Yes. Yes.
He's saying, in other words, George, the state would not move this way
Yes.
if it was against a plantation family.
Yeah.
With base 44, a simple sentence.
There you go, sir. We don't need to add anything to that. Plain language, sir. Are you there? A caller? Hello? Hello? Hello?
I'm hearing you, neighbor. Is a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah, okay. There you have it, sir. Let's take some other calls. Kotaroan, hi.
Yes, neighbor, bless.
Bless, man. Kotaroan, hi. Hello? Oh, I'm not hearing him at all. Rowan Johnson. Oh, not hearing Rowan Johnson. Keisha, do we have anyone else? Keisha, do we have anyone else? Wanting to join? Okay. Let me see, who do I have here? Hello? Astute?
Morning, neighbor, morning.
Astute, morning. I haven't spoken to you in a while, eh?
Yes, neighbor, but I've been here.
Yeah.
I was no, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm saying to you, Astute, that I felt so saddened by this matter, that I'm not normally on in the mornings, but I took a little time to come on to explain a few things to my listeners, because I really feel that an injustice was done to the people in Cooper's Pen. That the tractors did not arrive. The tractors that came there started.
The tractors did not arrive.
Take down the man, because when I opened his microphone, he never wanted to talk. The tractors, bulldozers started in Kingston. For 16 years they took, sir. They just arrived. But it wasn't that they just came up out of the blue like that. That this has been going on for 16 years. And that the PNP government, sir, knew about it, but turned up in Cooper's Pen and pretended as if they were saint. And I find that to be disingenuous, Astute.
Not only that, neighbor, there are several things any born Jamaican who may have come from, some would say the bowels of society, some may say humble beginnings, however you want to term it, poor people, although I believe poor is a mentality, but that's a different argument. It is scary. You know why it is scary, neighbor? Isn't the executive a part of government? And isn't the judiciary a part of our governance structure? Isn't the purpose of having a judiciary, a parliament, and an executive of government to separate powers so that people who may be a part of the executive cannot have influence on the other aspects of government, so as to make it fair and equitable to all? Now, if you're telling me that a minister who is supposed to be an elected official by the people, representing the people, sought to overturn, because you can't overturn it, but essentially he didn't pay any mind to the judgment given.
Yes.
As pointed out by the judges and all the analysts who would have given their take, people who, like myself, was not born with a gold spoon in my mouth. I didn't come from wealth, and to know that I went to school, stayed up night after night after night, lost sleep, start with a menial job, work my way up, now I'm able to get own property,
I remember government can just come and take it from me and give it to people who don't want to work for it.
Yeah.
That is very concerning, neighbor.
Yes.
It is beyond sad. It is scary. Because all it means is that once I acquire and work hard for what I want, a government, I mean, I don't want to say a government because the history has shown us that the People's National Party means this country no good.
Uh-huh. Yes. Hello? Oh. I think I seem to have lost him.
Try to obscure law. You hearing me?
I'm hearing you now. Yes?
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you, sir.
Yes, neighbor. I'm saying it is highly concerning. It's highly concerning to know that something like this can happen like this. Highly concerning. With all the facts being presented, every Jamaican should be worried. And that's why we have to reject. And then Mr. Golding went down there trying to behave all sanctimonious, like he's for the people when he was around at that time.
Uh-huh.
It is highly concerning. Even he had a own case in Mona Commons where I'm saying don't want no squatters near him property because they're going to bring down the property value. That's highly concerning, neighbor. Highly concerning.
Yes.
Highly concerning. Because remember, he's a part of the plantation class. So if it were him, and we see it anecdotally, he said he no want them there, and it never happened. But the man for over how many years, decades, I try to the babies, but the security of the children, and his is not in his remit. I don't feel responsibility. Are the parents' responsibility? So while we do empathize with the kids, the adults' responsibility for ensuring them put when them have them family planning, them have somewhere proper for put them children, so that them and them children can be put outside. And
wow.
if them and their kids are put outside, it's their responsibility to find shelter. It is not, neighbor, you know the dangerous precedent that it may be set as a consequence of what is happening. If the government come and bail out these people, it simply means that any man, woman, or child can see a piece of land, inhabit it. When the people are ready for them land, they're going to say government need to give you somewhere for go. So it means that nobody now really work for nothing. Just see a piece of land and capture it and the government come save you. We can't afford that, neighbor. As a country that is trying to reach developed status, neighbor.
Very dangerous, sir.
There are certain birthing pains towards progress. We will have to go through. Neighbor, when me going to the United States, in California, have a place called Skid Row.
Yes.
It's like an informal settlement for homeless people. But the government not really trouble them because of the homeless epidemic in that state. Government not take them and not give them social housing program. Government not give them indigent housing program. They have to live under tents, and that is a developed nation. Jamaica is considered a developing country, yet still people are expecting the government
to put them in sandals.
It cannot happen. It cannot happen, neighbor, and it is setting a dangerous precedent. And it also about shape the mindset of the people coming up. Because if me know somebody can go just occupy any piece of land, somebody might leave Jamaica and go foreign because they want a better opportunity to come back to them country and retire. Them work hard over their 2-3 job, buy their land, them land put on a rest, they're not ready to develop it yet. When them come now ready to retire, somebody who never do nothing to acquire a piece of land. Them just sit down, come and take over the people them land. When the people them are trying to get their land, problem, badness. It cannot work, neighbor. As a country that is seeking to go to a Singapore type in terms of our GDP per capita, and also the way in which we operate as a society, a functional society. We can't do it like that. We cannot do it like that, neighbor. We have to stand up against these things. People are going to try to appeal to the emotional side of the country. They say, oh my God, the babies. Yes, but while we do feel it for the children, we have to hold the adults accountable. Accountability is a thing that is lacking in Jamaica. We have to hold these people accountable. They went out and have these kids. They are responsible for the security and education of these children. The government is here to provide legislation, to provide the atmosphere for you to accomplish what you set out to accomplish. The government is not here as a bailout. The government is not here as an insurance company. That is not the purpose of government. I hear people talking about government and giving it agenda. The government he, the government she. The government is not a he or she, it's a whole system. And you have to understand how this system operates. Under our system of governance, we have what is called a Westminster system of governance.
Yes.
And under that system, there are written rules that define how that system functions.
Yes.
The government is not a he or a she. Mr. Holness is not the government. He's a member or the leader of the executive arm of government.
Quite true.
But the government is also consists of the opposition.
You better believe that. Golden is part of the government, sir.
Yes. The same opposition who had voice now saying they're trying to undermine projects of the executive. That makes no sense.
They're going to play their ball game. Yeah.
That makes no sense. Then you have a government minister putting a caveat, and that caveat doesn't even stand because you as a government minister don't have the right to do that. You cannot overrule the judicial arm of government. There's a purpose why these things are in place, so things like that cannot happen. Then the man will go to court in his own name. That is very telling.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yes, sir. And you know, astute, they did more than that. They lied. They lied, sir, because when they told the court that they wanted to acquire the land for public purpose, it was not for public purpose, sir.
Yes.
It was not for public purpose. It was for to protect the people at Cooper's Pen. They lied.
And to protect their own interests.
They lied, sir. And I find that to be to be very disgraceful that the PNP would go to the court with a false narrative.
But you have Jamaicans supporting that kind of nonsense. I hear people on their platform supporting it.
Well, I don't get a chance to listen to them, and even if I had the chance, I wouldn't listen. Because I love my ears, you know, so I protect my ears. I don't want to hear nonsense.
Yeah, but every Jamaican should be very concerned.
I think so. That's why we're here this morning. We're going on to 12 o'clock.
Because most Jamaicans did not come from wealth. Most Jamaicans had to get it out the dirt. Remember when we used to watch Profile with Ian Boyne? And you hear certain people who have gained stature in society now, and I tell you, they never have no electricity.
Yes.
They never wear shoes, go to school. They have to walk miles. They have to cross rivers. They have to go through valleys.
Yes.
They have to go over mountains. And you want to tell me, say, somebody like that, excel, come out, travel the world, work for world governments, decide to then want to come back home now to the land of their birth to the place where they love Jamaica land we love, then buy them property, and when they come, they can't get it because they're not a part of the plantation class. That
Yes.
can't right.
Can't write, sir.
That can't right, neighbor. That is my 2 cents.
Nice, man. Take care. I know it's busy. Let's go to Monica. Monica Minto. Hi. Morning. Morning, Monica. Hello. No, we don't have Monica at all. Who else do we have? 14 minutes to 12 o'clock. We leave you at 12. Hello? Hello? Okay, no. Who else do we have? Honeybee, you want to come in until the callers?
Neighbor, as I agree with Astute, the situation where people, as I said, I've seen a situation. When I say unless you live it, you would not understand it. I've seen a situation where a person would ask a person after they were caught building a structure on a person's land. They said to the person, "Oh, you don't own so much land, and some people can't find a way to live." Oh, that concern you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you only own it, and you did not. Instead of you saying to me, "Can you lease me here so I can build up something to live?" You're gonna ask me, "Oh, me want owe so much land while you not have nowhere to live." That's not my problem. That's yours.
Yes.
This is the type of mentality that is in Jamaica, where people, if you have a home, neighbor, and you go overseas for work, you have to have people constantly checking on your premises.
Yes.
Because burglars are getting in there. And I remember my sister worked right here in Kingston, and she has a house in Longville. And one weekend, my sister go home, and she said when she entered the scheme, she said, "Police." But she said she just passed by, and when she slowed down, she asked what happened, and somebody said they're breaking a couple of houses. When my sister got home and opened her front door, she looking straight through. She was one of them that got robbed. So she had to just drive back and call the police to come and report what was missing. So this is the situation where people they feel entitled to what you work for. And this is where we have to definitely, the government have a hard task ahead, because as Stu said, you can't bail out these people all the time, because then they're going to continue and the cycle is going to continue right on. And this is something that has been going on for years, neighbor. Years. As Prime Minister Andrew Holness said, these things were happening before he was ever in politics, when he was going to school. But it fall at his feet, and he has to deal with it.
Fantastic.
Because he is the head of government.
Yeah, damsel, I want breakfast. And I want lunch, damsel. Yes. You're gonna carry lunch for me, damsel? Thank you so much. What are you buying me for lunch today? I don't want no patties, please. I tired of the patty, man. Patty them up make me get too fat. Yeah. Kevin Baxter. Hi. Kevin Baxter. Good morning. I want a burger. A beef burger with orange juice. That's how much is that now? Okay. All right. Lovely. Thank you so much, my friend, damsel. Thank you for buying me lunch today. I'm hungry. I don't eat no breakfast for morning. I'm sad. I'm sad for my country. Sad that that my country is, I'm hearing these very, very unfortunate news. Terrible. Thank you so much, damsel. I appreciate it. Keisha, who else do we have there? Do we have anybody else? Do we have anyone else there? Yeah, I don't want to put on any weight. I've had too much patties. The patties them not even good these days, Them and when you go to the party place, you have to wait so long. 2-3 hours. Morning caller. All right. Who else do we have? We have a little time. We have a little time left. Oh my goodness, there's at least 20 people. Keisha, what's happening? What's happening? Who can we add? Ian Dunkley, good morning.
Good morning, neighbor. What?
Yes. Hi, morning.
Morning, boy, neighbor.
Uh-huh.
I see you make a statement a while ago, and it's the very same thing. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning.
Tell me.
We as a country, we're in a very sad state.
I think so.
Very, very sad state. Like I was saying to somebody this morning, we have this tendency that government must do everything for us, right? But at the same time, we don't ask ourselves, where should government get that money to do the things that we want them to do?
And that is because, sir, the PNP have placed in Jamaicans' mind that government is responsible to do these things. In other words, we have not defined who government is and what government is to do.
Exactly, but I heard. I think that when they say you have education, it's supposed to be smart and sensible, but you look like when you have education, you become an idiot. Because I hear one MP saying on a TikTok live that government is supposed to do this, and government is a creature of the law, and government must give you back a house, and government must this. And I'm saying,
man, that man is talking rubbish, sir.
I'm saying, so neighbor, let me ask you a question, right? You, as a citizen of this country, or put it this way, any other country, what is your responsibility as a citizen?
Well, you know the best definition of government that I know came from Thomas Jefferson. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, among them the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of justice, and that it is to secure these rights why governments exist. Can I tell you this, sir? Governments do not exist to build house to you. It does not. Governments do not exist to buy your car, sir. Governments exist to provide you services and provide you an opportunity and an environment so you can go and produce your happiness. Me no want no house from government, you know, sir.
Look here, no man. But I tell you why, no, neighbor. I tell you what. And let's be honest. Because I want to put it the correct way. I remember just put it away and hope you can pick sense out of nonsense. You see, because politicians are chosen based upon promises and not merit. This is why we are where we are today.
Let me tell you what I want, sir. I want a Jamaica where I can get a job, where I am safe, where I can pursue my dreams, and I will build my own house.
Look here, no man.
And the house that I want to build for myself, sir, government can't build it to me, for me.
No, brother.
Because I want my bathroom to look a particular way, you know, sir.
Look here, you know, neighbor, I said to somebody last week that life is a blank wall, right? Life is a blank wall. You cut your own window and your own door. Yeah? Whenever somebody, if you sit and allow somebody to cut it for your neighbor, you know what? You're not going to satisfy with how they cut it, you know?
Yeah.
You're not going to satisfy. Either it's going to ill-shaped it, out of design, too small or too big, but it's not going to be to your liking. I said to a young man the other day, opportunity is a train.
Is a what?
It's up to you which is a train.
Train?
Train.
Yes.
Train. It's up to you which stage you goes onto, because train doesn't reverse, opportunity doesn't reverse.
But do you realize, sir, that most Jamaicans, after they get a NHT house or a house by a private developer, them build it how them want?
They know that me about
you go to Portmore, sir. Them they are no house where the people get, you know. Them put up on top. Then go round it, then lock out the wall.
All right. Neighbor. Stick up, you're going back way back down there. So last week, I could put it last week because those houses that they build out by the highway there near the side the toll road there, right? And then we call it starter home.
Yes.
When last you pass out there and really look over there and see how people building their home. People are add to it, people are designing it the way how they want it.
Yes.
You understand? So it's up to you to create your own thing. Stop. Look at the man, I'm getting upset every day me hear about this, hear this nonsense being talked about. Because I made a comment the other day on a social media post and said 99% of those people who are living on squatter land have no intention of buying the land or moving. They have absolutely no intention. Now, what you are saying to me is that if me own a piece of land, me must build one house on it right now and live on it. If me not do that, you're going to take you and give it to somebody else.
My son, my family, government can't build me no house where me want. You hear me tell you something? The house where me want, government can't build that. What I want the government to do is to continue to drive crime down, grow the economy, and let me go. Let me go, sir.
Provide an equitable platform for every citizen to build on.
Thank you.
Yeah. And a platform, when we say platform to build on, we're not talking about piece of land. A socio-economic platform.
Right.
That even a young baby can say, when I grow up, this is what I want to do. This is what I am going to do. That's what we want government to do. Now, if you walk on a handout house to people and look here, let me tell you something, neighbor. We have a problem in this country, and it's called lack of priority, lack of priority. Lack of priority. And anytime we learn to get our priorities right, neighbor, we are on the pathway to a first world country.
But you know, sir, how are we going to get those priorities right? When right now, as I speak to you, sir, there are at least 400,000 Jamaicans that are saying, "A nonsense will not talk. A government will do it." And if an election, if an election is called tomorrow, sir, you'll have more than 300,000 people who would go and cast their vote for the PNP.
And watch this now.
Uh-huh.
That about cast vote. You and them still not drink something right now. An election call right now. The next moment you and them become enemy because you share two different views.
Yeah, they are going to vote for the PNP no matter what, sir. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't say they would win, but I would say it would be a fiercely contested election.
Very much.
And you know, sir, that is heartbreaking. Do you know why I started this program? I was at work one day, and it was during the local election, and I saw the Prime Minister 2 o'clock, sir, out campaigning. And I said something wrong, something wrong in Jamaica when the Prime Minister is out 2 a.m. campaigning. And then when the elections were held, the party barely won. As a matter of fact, they lost the popular votes. Lost it.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, how can a government be performing this well and is about to lose an election? And I said, no, man, I have to get my voice into the mix, because me can't just sit down and watch the country about to be taken over by the PNP. And I said, no, I'm gonna start doing some videos. And I started. I just started to post some things, and here I am today. And hold on, sir. This is not me being partisan,
No.
This is me seeing a reality that I have lived. Because I grew up in a hopeless Jamaica, sir. When I left high school, I couldn't get a job. There's nowhere I could turn to get one. Had to pick up buckle. Pick up buckle and sell, sir.
Yeah.
Pick up buckle and try sell to earn a living. Wash buckle and sell in a Jamaica, sir, with an education.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
Because
saying to you?
You have your priorities right. You
And-
know exactly where you want
And
to
I'm
go.
telling
and
you,
you're
sir,
charting
that
a way how to go.
I could leave my yard now and go into any town in Jamaica and get a work.
Yeah.
Yes. If it's even for a wash car.
You see, nothing wrong with wash car, no. It's a means to an
I
end.
never said nothing wrong with it. I'm only saying to you that that opportunities are available.
Yeah. But you see, I'm at a loss when I hear some people complaining on what they're complaining about and complaining for. You know, I'm at a loss because I'm saying that if you look and see within a 1 year period how many persons visiting Jamaica, right? What is it or why is it? They're coming. Or me and you who live here slow every day get up and talk about, well, government now this, government now that. Come on, bro. What have you been doing for yourself? What have you been doing for yourself? Come on, man. We have to, at first time people used to say, we have to broke up with folly ground, man. Broke up with folly
But
ground,
I ask you seriously, sir, what is the future like when 400,000 Jamaicans right now would tune in to us and say, come up, talk foolishness and go SYM. Mark Golding is
future look dark, you know.
Huh?
Future look dark, you know, neighbor, to be honest with you, very dark, you know, and that's what the concerning part. You understand? It's very dark.
Because I can tell you this, you know, sir. Every labor right better know this, you know, that within a 4th term it's not going to be an easy thing, you know.
No. The hill is steep, you know. It's a very steep hill, you know. And it going takes a lot of hard work and willpower to get it on top of the hill there, you know.
Why, sir? Why? Why after crime is down to a 30-year low?
No. Yes, because the very same people who you're trying to appease are making it more difficult. Me use a word called priority. People don't know what their priorities are. People don't know what is it they want in life. They don't know where they want to go. They don't know. So I'm gonna go come and tell you, say, yes, they're gonna promise you to bring them home, come on earth, closer to you. And that's the person that they want to, and it's totally impossible. It's totally impossible.
Are you over 50, sir?
Yeah.
You know, sir, I say this with all sadness, that I don't know that I am going to live long enough. I hope my children will, to see the Jamaica that I dream of. Because I'm telling you, sir, partisan and tribalized politics is gonna
it's getting worse, and it's getting
bad,
worse.
Sir.
Just go on social media and read the comments that people. I'm wondering if those comments are AI generated or they're coming from real people living in Jamaica.
You know, the Prime Minister said that he's gonna do something about it, and I'm wondering when. When?
You see, like I said earlier, it's gonna take some real strong willpower, yeah, to get some things right. Because everybody talk about freedom of speech, but freedom of speech comes with responsibility. You don't just get up and utter any and every word that come to your mind or come on the tip of your tongue. Can I
tell you this, sir? An unrestrained man is a dangerous man.
Is more dangerous than a man with a gun in his hand.
I don't believe in freedom, you know, sir.
You see, what people don't understand, we need to understand clearly what the word freedom means.
I'm not a believer in freedom, you know, sir. Because I tell you this, sir. I tell you this. The America right now, they have very relaxed gun laws, and they are suffering, sir.
You see the freedom. When we talk about freedom, we want the freedom when them have and pay the consequences.
All right. No. Give us that freedom in Jamaica. Give it to us. Give it to us.
The consequences that they are facing right now.
Oh, right. No, sir. You have children at home. Those children cannot be free, sir. They cannot be free.
No.
You cannot be free, sir. You have to put restraint on people, sir, to get them to behave.
Look here now. If we had wanted freedom, we would have shown that we really wanted free. We want to be free.
Thank you.
But our behavior doesn't say that. It's
Thank you,
something
sir.
Totally different.
Thank you.
Yeah? It's saying something totally different. And like I said earlier, full time we get up and broke up a folly ground as them old time people that say.
Agree with you,
broke
sir.
Up a folly ground. You understand? We can't continue like this and expect to get the best.
Agree with you, sir. But
It can't.
you at your age, sir, you would have understood the ideological 70s and how the politics at the time was divisive. But I'm shocked that in 2026 we are back there.
It's really alarming, you know.
It is the social media era. Anyway, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. It's nice talking to you, man.
You bet, sir. It's nicer for me. All right, Keisha. Who else do we have up top? We can go a few more minutes. Keisha, Damsel, is Damsel there? In Damsel, I haven't heard from you. What on? Who else do we have there? Keisha. All right. We're waiting on our producer today to add calls as we seek to. Okay, she's checking the box to see who else is there. Remember, we're going to be back here at 7 o'clock tonight here, so don't worry yourself. We're going to be live. Clive, you left. Honeybee, you still there?
Neighbor, I heard someone say the very thing you said this morning, that freedom. Freedom. I remember when my son started high school, the teacher said, it's not a privilege. I think she said graduation is a privilege. It's not a right. And that's the same way I terms freedom. Freedom is a privilege. It's not a right where people can abuse it the way it's happening now. Because I remember on one of the statements where the man said, cannot be a squatter in a Jamaica.
Yes.
That simply means he's saying that he's entitled to squat and live on somebody's land. And no matter how hard you work, you have no reason to be disgruntled because he can't be a squatter in this country. And that is so problematic for us. And this situation, if the mindset of people don't change, neighbor, it's going to filter down to the younger generation. It's going to get worse.
Yeah, yes.
And when I say to people that I'm very worried, I'm nervous about the future, neighbor. I can tell you that straight. I'm nervous about the future in Jamaica and what it's going to be like for our children that is coming up and grandchildren for those who have grandchildren. Because I can say to someone that it's not that a couple years ago you could not find a summer job for your young one. My daughter got 2 summer jobs this year. That simply means things is happening, but people are not willing to accept that we have to make sacrifice for the country to go forward. And people just want the destination, neighbor. They don't want the journey.
Yeah, that's so true. Let's go to Michael. Michael Bentley. Hi. Michael Bentley? No, not there. Okay, that's going to have to do it for us then. For this Monday, we will, of course, jump in back with you this evening at 7 o'clock. Until then, have a great afternoon and